Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, making sense of today's deeply interconnected global news can definitely feel a bit overwhelming, so we're going to use what I like to call a macroscopic to microscopic funnel approach. It's June 4th, 2026. We'll start way up high with high-stakes international geopolitics, pan out to maritime threats, and then funnel all the way down to see exactly how these massive global shifts ripple right into our local communities.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, Middle East tensions escalate. Second, global threats and maritime laws. Third, U.S. politics and pushback. Fourth, regional crime and safety. And finally, global tragedies and triumphs.
Section 1. Middle East tensions escalate. Right now, that tentative U.S.-Iran ceasefire, well, it's being severely tested, with even President Trump publicly admitting to growing friction behind the scenes. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sharp contrast in how regional actors are flexing their muscles to assert control. On one side, Iran is using intense financial leverage, literally demanding the immediate release of 50% of its frozen global assets just to sign an official memorandum of understanding. But meanwhile, the Lebanese armed forces are physically moving in to secure southern territory that was recently vacated by the Israeli Defense Forces. So it's financial ultimatums on one hand and actual boots on the ground on the other.
But complicating all that physical movement is some incredibly severe pushback from Hezbollah. See, while Lebanese President Joseph Aoun called a proposed U.S.-backed peace draft a last opportunity for security, Hezbollah Secretary General Naim Qassem explicitly rejected it. The draft's condition requiring his forces to withdraw north of the Litanite River, well, Qassem bluntly declared that complying would constitute, quote, total surrender. Meanwhile, Iran's supreme leader, Mustafa Khamenei, is actively framing the narrative to isolate the U.S. He's claiming the ongoing war has caused a tangible divergence of Gulf nations away from Washington. By publicly asserting that American military bases can no longer protect regional partners, Iran is essentially trying to fundamentally rewrite the entire security architecture of the Middle East.
And you know, amidst all this chaos, some leaders are really trying to bring independent forces to heel. Take Iraq's Prime Minister, Ali al-Zaidi. He is pursuing this massive state plan to not just disarm Iranian-backed Iraqi militias, but to permanently absorb them into official federal security organs, like the Counterterrorism Service. It's an absolutely bold attempt to bring all these localized paramilitaries under a single unified federal umbrella.
Section 2. Global threats and maritime laws.
So this geopolitical maneuvering, it isn't just happening on land. It's heavily impacting global shipping, too. Down in the Strait of Hormuz, Iran is continuously disrupting trade routes. And to justify it, they're pointing directly to the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. Tehran actually claims this international framework gives them the right to extract transit fees, supposedly because they are providing protection and services to passing vessels. It's a highly controversial legal loophole, and they're using it to put an international veneer of legality right over their maritime disruption.
Shifting over to another massive global threat, state media and global intelligence have confirmed that North Korea just unveiled a massive new facility. Its purpose? To rapidly manufacture nuclear weaponization materials and inspect systems. And guys, this isn't just political posturing, it's a dedicated assembly line, and it puts an immediate severe strain on international non-proliferation efforts.
Section 3. U.S. Politics and Pushback.
Of course, these massive overseas tensions always ripple right back home. The U.S. House of Representatives recently passed an unexpected bipartisan war powers resolution that targets unauthorized military deployments in the Middle East. So the crucial point is, what's driving lawmakers from across the aisle to unite and counter the executive branch here? Well, it's the economy. It is largely fueled by growing public concern over the severe economic impacts of these foreign interventions.
Now, funneling down from federal to state-level politics, we see just how wildly unpredictable local races can be. Over in Minnesota, long-serving Republican State Representative Peggy Bennett abruptly ended her campaign for governor. And the reason? Her lieutenant governor pick literally backed out of the ticket via text message just hours before the filing deadline. I mean, it really is proof that whether you're in high school or high-stakes politics, getting dumped over text is always devastating.
Section 4. Regional crime and safety.
Focusing all the way in on regional developments in Minnesota, we have a very somber update regarding the May 23rd fatal shooting of a 17-year-old Mankato West High School student. Authorities have now arrested 20-year-old Abdikadar Faki Mohidin. He's been charged with second-degree murder after what officials are describing as a botched illicit transaction.
While dealing with local tragedies, law enforcement is also actively sweeping up regional criminal networks. Take a look at this number right here, $44,000. That's just the cash seized in one single recent operation up in the Twin Ports area.
But honestly, that cash was just the tip of the iceberg in what turned out to be a massive narcotics haul by the Lake Superior Violent Crime Task Force. Following a deep trafficking investigation, they arrested 31-year-old Kwame Mitchell, uncovering nearly 2,000 grams of meth, a full kilogram of cocaine, fentanyl, and a loaded pistol. It's a really sobering look at the sheer volume of illicit materials that are actively moving through our regional corridors.
Section 5. Global Tragedies and Triumphs.
At the absolute micro level of our news funnel today, we see the deeply human scale of daily tragedy. In Bihar, India, an incredibly fast-moving blaze ripped through a private medical facility, tragically killing 4 patients and injuring 13. Meanwhile, back in Duluth, Minnesota, a porch fire devastated a 6-unit residence, causing $75 grand in damage and displacing multiple families. They are geographically thousands of miles apart, but both represent devastating instant impacts on local communities.
Let's move to and see how this builds into something brighter. To wrap up today, let's look at a genuinely triumphant initiative, 2 crore Indian rupees. That is the massive financial investment that was just announced by India's leading healthcare education company, Virohan.
And this isn't just some localized donation. It's a targeted strike against the massive global shortage of clinical support specialists. Virohan is providing upfront, merit-based tuition specifically aimed at female applicants across more than 20 top Indian institutions. It's absolutely a brilliant grassroots approach to empowering women, all while fundamentally fortifying the global healthcare sector for the future. A real game changer for sure.
And that brings us to the end of today's Explainer. We've traced the threads from the macro-level friction of Middle Eastern ceasefires and maritime laws right through the economic pushback in U.S. politics, all the way down to the deeply human impacts in our local neighborhoods. And it really leaves us with one vital question to think about. With global alliances shifting so dramatically and local communities continuously having to rebuild, where does the balance of powers settle next? Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you in the next Explainer.